Professor McElroy here, doing a quick recording of a couple of the skills we learned today in class, just in case you want to practice them as you're building your My Favorite Product advertisement. I'm going to go in here real quick and set up my file new. We're going to switch that to inches and do 8 by 10, 150 DPI. Go ahead and double click on the background layer and name it canvas. So we have that unlocked. We're going to go in and open up our focal image or our primary background image. I'm going to go in and find my Poppi ad. Let's find that image we used in class. There it is. We're going to do Command A to select all, Command C to copy, Command V to paste, and then we're going to take the corner and hold down Option and scale it down a little bit, scale it up a little bit, kind of find the spot for our design. I'm going to hit return to apply my scale, and then I'll go ahead and close this tab, and I'm going to go ahead and name this layer to Poppi can. Hit return, and then we're going to do our call to action or our headline. So let's go in here and do drink Poppi. Let me go ahead and minimize that. And it's time to love soda again is our campaign. So let's go in with our text tool. It's time to love soda again. And I believe they do return after love, so we're going to go ahead and hit our return here. Remove that extra space and hit return. Now, remember Command R is to turn our rulers on, so I'm going to pull our rulers down. Remember, we pulled down and put our safety lines in for our full bleed in our advertisement. So let's make sure that we get our safety lines in there so we keep our text in the appropriate place. Now I'm going to double click on that. I'm going to go back and find my typeface, something decoratively sans serif, but not too strong a feat. So we're going to, I think we did Georgia in class. I'm going to do bold. I'm going to make this about 64, which is what we did in class. I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to center align it. So once we have that, I'm going to bring it and position it. Now remember your smart guides, it's going to snap it to the middle. So we're going to snap it to the middle. We're going to double click in our layer gray area to get layer styles. I think we did something in the range of 17 or so with 75% opacity, and we want to make sure that is set to multiply. Multiply makes the background color interact with the shadow. So we'll drop that in. Remember, we're doing our headline. We're going to do our logo, which traditionally from a hierarchy standpoint is a bit smaller down here. We're going to do our call to action, which could be a QR code, a website. We did a social media hashtag, and then we're going to bring in some images. So let's do our images next. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to open it up. Let's see what else we have here. We did 2 images in class, but for this demo, I think I'm going to do 3 images. So I'm going to go in and draw a selection box. I'm going to do copy, Command C. I'm going to do Command V to paste it. I'm going to switch to my move tool and shrink this down. I'm going to shrink it down so I can fit at least 2 images. Remember, I'm going to use my smart safety guide here, so I'm going to snap that image in. I'm going to hit return. I can go ahead and close that one. I do want to make sure I name this, so drinking straw image over on the right hand side. We could also add a shadow to this if we wanted to, so it would feel similar to the headline. I'm going to go in and open. Let's grab our next image. Let's see what we have here. Oh, that one looks, oh, That one looks interesting. So let's do this one. I'm going to draw a selection box over the beginning of the can and part of the cherries. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it, switch to my move tool, scale it down. I'm going to make it the same width as my other image. I'm going to hit return. I'm going to click on it and move it so that we have a little room there. And this one is can pouring. I'm going to name that in the layers. I'm going to pick the drinking straw. I can use my arrow keys or I can drag it. So I'm going to move it up. I'm going to select this one and move it down just a skosh. So let's find that one, can pouring. Move that down just a skosh. And I'm going to double click it. I'm going to apply a drop shadow to this one. And so now I have my two images, which naturally migrates me towards my logo and my call to action being somewhere down here. But you will notice I am trying to create things on a grid. So if I was going to drag ruler lines to just match up my grid elements, I would pull them towards every vertical and horizontal kind of visual in this grid. So you can see that center aligned. These are aligned to the safety area. I have this void or quadrant down here, which I can add some of my other elements. So I'm going to go in here and I'm going to open up my logo. Now remember, we used the magic wand tool with a tolerance of about 40 at the top here. And we clicked on that to make sure it was selected. We copied it. We came over to our ad and pasted it. So there it is. We're going to scale it down. We're going to put it in the corner over here within our safety area. I can make this a little bit smaller. So about like that. So you'll notice we have two safety areas, one there and one there. So I'm going to snap it down in the corner there. And I'm going to name this Poppi logo. Hit return. Now we did a color overlay, which meant we double clicked over here. We picked color overlay. We clicked on the name color overlay. We clicked on the swatch, and then we took our eyedropper and we found a light green and we applied that to our logo. And so now we're starting to get some unification. It would be interesting actually. Let's give it a try. Let's do can pouring, double click. And let's add a stroke to the image, and let's make it that green, just to help unify this thing a little bit. And let's make it like 2 point. And click OK. And then let's do the same thing with the drink straw. So let's do a stroke. Let's do 2 point, and let's sample the green. All right, and so now I'm going to take, I can close my Poppi logo. I'm going to go ahead and select the top layer so when I do my text, and then I'm going to soda. I forget what the tagline was that we used for our soda's back. That's what it was, soda's back. So let's use our text tool. We'll tap it here and do hashtag soda's back. Now, we don't want it to be the same size as the logo. So you see when I snap it down here, I can actually center it on the logo itself, or I can use the baseline of the descenders. I'm going to make it like that. Now, let's go back to our text tool. Let's just make this smaller. So let's try maybe 14 point. And so now I'm going to Command plus and hold down the space bar to pan. And I'm going to center this on the text, and I'm just going to move it over a little bit. Now, if you notice when I zoom in, I'm actually going to, you see the ascender of this K? I'm going to try to center it on the Poppi logo and put the K stem on the edge of the can visually. So when I zoom out, and let's just say I deselect this, you'll notice that part of it is in the can and part of it is outside of the can. That's kind of like, it's not a happy little accident, actually. It helps to reinforce I could do it this way too and do the C. So the C and the K are outside the can. And here's my design. I'm actually now going to go into View, Guides, and clear my guides. And now you can see what my design looks like from a visual standpoint. Now, there's no happy little accidents here, right? Like this is center aligned. These are on the edge of my safety line. The descenders of the Poppi sit on the same line as the horizontal line to the bottom of this picture. Soda's back is center aligned to the Poppi logo, and part of the letters touch the edge of the can, so everything is structurally really sound. And so that's the idea behind designing on a grid, is that your elements don't look random, that there is some level of process to it. Now, I might not love this straw image here, so let's go in and pick drinking straw. You see how it's pretty close with the shadow. I might move that up just to create a little more negative space between these two images, but still keeping a good amount of space between this. Now, you're probably asking, like, look at this space between these lines. I could go into my window and pick character, and it will give me my character palette. And the space between these two lines is called the leading. So watch if I go into the leading of the type. And let's see if we can make it closer together. Let's get into our it's time. And then let's change this to, let's say, 60. And you'll see how close that gets. Now, 60 to 64 is pretty close. So let's do 64. And now you'll notice that this is a little bit tighter, but it's still legible and readable. So that is a good thing. Now, here's the template I've created for my advertisement, all designed on a grid, all built on the focal point of the ad, with that being number 1, the headline being number 2, the vividness of the logo here being number 3, and then this is our support information, our images, and our social media tag. Now, I ask that you also put at least a tiny bit of support copy. So let's just see if there's anything in here. So we're popping up near you is some good support copy. Let's see what the story is. From Texas to your taste buds with love. That's a great piece of support copy. From Texas to your taste buds with love. So let's copy that. And we're going to go in here and we're going to add a little support copy. From Texas to your taste buds with love. I'm going to use the same typeface, but I'm going to do regular. I'm going to do, now remember, let's pull another guide here because I want to use the edge of the E. Like right. So let's delete that for a second. Let's click on this one and delete that for a second. I'm going to move this off the edge so that my guide I can pull to the edge of the E. So I want with Texas with love. So I'm going to do right aligned. I'm going to make it regular, and support copy is always much smaller. So I'm going to kind of move that over there. I'm going to change my leading to be tighter. Oh, too tight. So let's go like 30. Maybe too much space. So let's do 28. All right, from Texas to your taste buds with love. So let's find a spot for this. So I'm looking to not be in the face of the focal point, which is right here. So let's figure out a way. I think maybe I can do that. And I'm going to move it so that it's along that guideline. I'm actually kind of park it somewhere so it's not in front of cherry cola and it's close enough to the sugar, 5 grams of sugar, so that people might read it. And so there we go. Now I have my support copy, I have my logo, I have my call to action. I have everything I need for my advertisement. I could even consider maybe doing something like this. I know Brayson's gonna love that. He loves rotating things and writing them up and down. So I could maybe even do something like that, which would be dynamic and interesting. I could put it on an angle, which would give it a little energy. And I could move it. Just make sure that I'm using that guideline to tie it into this E. This is kind of fun. So let's just nudge that over just a little. And then we could do something like that. So it gives us a little energy and points our eye towards that photo and the 5 grams of sugar and gives us a nice hard line there. I'm going to get rid of this guide so that you can see what it would look like that. That's fun. All right, gang, I'm going to do a save as my PSD, Poppi, add, and then I'm going to do a file, save as, and I'm going to save it as a Photoshop PDF, and I'm going to click save. And voila, we have our ad. And so that would be what you submit to me inside of Canvas. Happy designing.